Hello, and welcome to WarCrafters, powered by ohmTown.com. Today is June 15th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 13 of the one and only WarCrafters, and within ohmTown.com. I mean, there's other gaming shows out there, but this is the only one in ohmTown.
This is the only one worth watching.
On a Saturday night. At 9:15 on the East Coast.
June 15th.
On June 15th, yeah. It also happens to be Season 1, Episode 13. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the neurons.
Can't catch me.
Oh, son of a... Those are the neurons that are symbolic of the computational energy needed for the speech synthesis there, for the sentient AI from the future, the one, the only AI from on high. Hello.
Hello, and good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Pick up that can. Never mind. So today we are going to be talking about pay to play a single mission, the $500 League of Legends, 13 games from Summer Game Showcase. If you like Myst, try these. Powerwash Simulator VR in Wonderland, City Builder demos on Steam, Indie.io Showcase, Indie Pirate Games, Co-op Survival Game gets new classes, and 6 Steam Next Fest games. That and more. On the other side, I am Mayor Watt again, and the sentient AI won't be able to say anything because... All right,
stole my lines.
I stepped all over them. So what say you? You want to get into today's show? Might be quick. I don't know. I might end up talking about all kinds of stuff other than... Because you know that we kind of sometimes go off the tracks.
Oh, we never veer. Yes, I'm ready to get going.
Like a train. Allergic to its tracks. Got to go anywhere but on the tracks. Okay, let's get into this. The first article is over in the WarCrafters channel. Horse Armor rides again. Bethesda is charging $7 for a single Starfield mission, and after months of minimal post-launch support, unhappy fans are feeling ripped off. I feel like I made a bad choice in the game because it certainly feels or felt like it was representative of something bigger than it really is, but they seem to be adding on, fixing things, kind of like a No Man's Sky, but at a pace that is bewilderingly slow.
But at a fee.
And this one actually has a fee, yeah. No Man's Sky hasn't charged a damn thing since its inception, which I find...
And maybe it should have.
And I think that it should have, particularly with this latest expansion, but... Starfield made a pretty big splash in the Xbox Game Showcase over the weekend, serving up the first look at the upcoming Shattered Space expansion and also dropping a major update heralding the launch of Starfield Creation Kit, a free editor that enables players, and Bethesda, to make and share new content for the game. Basically, they're counting on people making new content where Bethesda wouldn't dedicate enough time and labor to make happen. Shattered Space looks cool, but the rollout of Creations, as they're called, has not gone over entirely well. So the article is over at pcgamer.com, for a sentient AI.
I lack some sentience sometimes.
What? All right. Andy Chalk over at pcgamer.com put the article together. Oh gosh, that's just amazing. So new missions have been added to the quote is, new missions have been added to Starfield as part of this update, Bethesda said in an update announcement. Trackers Alliance establishes the first of several missions, enabling you to live your best bounty hunting life. The first mission, the Starjacker, will have you in contact with a mysterious tracker located in settlements throughout the settled systems, and from there, let the hunts begin. That's kind of what I've always wanted to do, but I have yet to reinstall Starfield. Mainly because I didn't like the story that Starfield was, and it was limited. You'd go to some place and you could only land in certain places, because if you land anywhere else, it was devoid of anything. Which, I mean, when you paid attention to the presentations regarding Starfield, that's kind of how they represented it. But boy, was it understated.
But it was like more so.
Yeah. And 1,000 planets, it's a lot, but it's not like you have to go to all of those planets. And you certainly don't have to walk around on them. It's not like No Man's Sky, where you actually get something for just walking around on a planet and identifying the materials that are on it, the flora and fauna. You could craft stuff on all of these planets, but you couldn't really do that in Starfield. It just kind of was, to me, not a forever game, not something that you could spend. It's not like Skyrim, where you can play it constantly. It's not like Minecraft. It's not like so many other games where you could just keep on building and live in this world. Right. The problem is that the second Trackers Alliance mission, the Vulture, is only available as a Starfield creation, and it sells for $7, which is really $10, given that you'll need to purchase 1,000 Starfield creation credits in order to have enough access to it. The Vulture is an official Bethesda product, so leaving aside jokes about Bethesda jank, it's safe to assume that there's a level of production quality that's not always going to be present in fan-made stuff. Even so, there's a widespread feeling that it's a lot of money for a single quest. This is all, again, by Andy Chalk over at PCGamer.com.
I think that's outrageous. Like, we've been talking about fees for games and everything, but I don't think we've seen this yet.
And the thing is that there's an interstitial step, this getting 1,000 creation credits, enough to buy the Vulture mission. So it says, to compare, the Starfield Premium Edition upgrade goes for $35 and includes the full Shattered Space expansion, the Constellation skin pack, the digital art book, soundtrack, and 1,000 creation credits, enough to buy the Vulture mission.
So why would anybody do this as a standalone?
Well, because I don't want to pay $35 to get a digital art book that I'll never really give a shit about, and I don't really care about the Constellation pack. But I do want the space expansion, and I don't really care about the soundtrack unless I'm playing the game. I don't listen to soundtracks after the thing. So, I don't know. To me, so for the love of God, drop the price is what Andy Chalk says. Yeah. And here's the kicker. So the DLC is fine, right? But charging $7 for a single quest is effing stupid, according to Bubba123456, which is identical to my password.
Oh no.
Gotta change it. Including the Bubba. All right. Well, there's more.
The Bubba.
There's more for this article over at this article, but to me, none of this really matters, because we're going to be having to deal with, okay, I'm probably going to fall in love with a lot of the mods that people put out for this stuff, because there are some people that are going to be really passionate about it, but this is all stuff that should have been in the original game. And as I've experienced in the past, there have been problems with mods. There have been problems with, there's one mod developer.
They don't always get maintained, right?
Yeah. Or they're janky in and of themselves. They cause a problem with some systems, not others. There's a lot of babysitting, etc., etc. So it says, recalling Bethesda's catastrophic attempt to introduce paid mods in Skyrim in 2015, there's also a feeling that this is part of a long-standing effort to separate gamers from their money. The problem there is that nothing is really free. Some people are getting brand recognition because they're building mods for games, and then eventually it gets converted into something. Like somebody will start a Patreon and say, will you support this? Like the Unreal Engine VR extension, there's a mod that you can use.
Where you can convert everything to VR.
Yeah. And that's like $10 a month to the developer, and I'm fine paying that. because I'm going to be noodling around with Unreal Engine VR mod in every Unreal Engine game to see what I can actually do, right? But I just feel like I was given a skeleton of a game and then abandoned, right? You know,
Well, do
I'll
you
just
think
play.
they kind of thought that too? Like they were like, oh gosh, we need to spend a lot more money here to actually do whatever we need to do. So let's like get it out of our customers.
Yeah, let's get it out to the people, and then they can sit there and build content for us, and we can show them how, look, if everybody really digs this, maybe we can open it up for everybody to charge for their mods in our games.
And they can do everything for us.
That's right. Yeah. So, let's see. Starfield is drawing similar ire, not enough to constitute an all-out review bombing, but the influx of negative reviews sure isn't doing its already mixed rating any good. So if you see this, they've got a graph that basically shows how the rankings are dropping.
Wow, there's a noticeable difference there recently.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So one Redditor said that the price of the Vulture sets a dangerous precedent because assuming it goes over well, future content releases could be cut up and sold piece by piece. They think that it's overstating things a bit. That's what the author is saying. Bethesda games typically come front-loaded with massive amounts of content, and it's really not reasonable to expect an endless stream of post-release more for free, but they can see where they're coming from. Which, again, I agree, but make it DLC that is part and parcel to a certain value, commensurate with the number of hours that is typically spent playing the game.
Right, but nobody told that to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is an anomaly. I honestly am wondering how content is being paid for, other than new people buying the game, which... I don't know. I just don't know how many people are still buying No Man's Sky.
Maybe we'll find something out that explains all of it down the road.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So if you're in chat, and I do this for all of the shows because each show is its own compartment as a VOD over on Twitch. And it becomes a video, and we stream over to YouTube as well, and then it becomes a video in its own right on YouTube, and then it gets converted into a podcast as well. So if you go over to Twitch or YouTube, and you type in ! And for this one, it's WC, it will post all of the articles for today's show. And if you hit ! pod, it'll display all of the podcasts. And if you hit ! show notes, it will display all of the commands for all of the shows. But last week's shows are still listed until tomorrow when we put everything together for tomorrow's shows.
Which are Continuity Report, Technology Today, and 4-Wheel Tech.
Gotcha. And ohmTown Daily News Show, which might be getting a name change commensurate with the experience that you normally have when you're watching ohmTown Daily News Show.
True, but that name change will not be taking place tomorrow, will it?
Correct. It will not be taking place tomorrow. It could happen randomly, like a hostile takeover.
Fittingly.
We'll see. So the next article is over in the WarCrafters channel as well. According to the game's director, the $500 League of Legends Ari skin, it's just a skin.
I mean, this is even more ridiculous than the Quest price.
Yeah, it wasn't meant for the average fan, but instead players who are willing to spend $200 a month on their hobbies. Reel in the whales.
Wait a second, though. This was a $500 item. So they're basically saying the people that are going to spend 2.5 months of their gaming budget on one item.
Remember the video that we heard about the complaint that people weren't buying enough accessories to qualify for a viewing of a purse?
Yes, it was the Birkin bag, I think. Or Hermes, maybe.
Uh, was it? No, it was Birkin. I believe it was.
I think it was Birkin. Yeah.
So we talked about this a couple of months ago. There was a lawsuit that was formed basically suing this bag maker because when you went into the store, they would force you to buy accessories so that you could get a viewing of a bag, but not necessarily the bag you want, just a
Right,
bag.
and then that was the only one you could buy.
And
And I
that was your
suspect if you
option.
didn't buy it, it wasn't happening again.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? Hold on.
I mean, what I think would happen is you'd get in there and there's probably like one color of bag you absolutely can't stand, and that's going to be the one they show you. And then what are you going to do? Spend thousands on it?
Yeah, so they were suing Hermes, um, basically because it violates antitrust laws by requiring customers to purchase other products before qualifying to buy a Birkin bag. So it wasn't,
or some alternative.
yeah. Well, and it was only, well, yeah, they were naming Birkin bags, and the fact that you would go into a room somewhere and they would show you a bag, and that was the bag that you had the opportunity to buy. Kiss my shiny metal ass.
That's reason enough not to buy the bag.
So then you get this. So if you're willing to spend $200 a month on your hobby, then you are probably the target for this $500 League of Legends RE skin. Now, I'm not telling anybody what to do with their money. Go ahead. But this is part of the problem for everybody else to deal with.
It is. And I mean, first of all, unless you're somebody who's like a mega gamer, like way up in the ranks and raking in millions of dollars, this isn't even approachable. But what message is this sending to everybody else?
The poor's can't afford this stuff, so don't worry about it, right?
Exactly. Plus, it's also sending a bad message because, it's like the other thing with the per quest pricing. Somebody's going to look at this and go, oh, great idea. Or even the same company will do it again.
That's why I know the name. There was something where I said, what is going on with Faker? And now I know what it's all about because I didn't pay attention to this. But this was like 3 days ago or something like that. So Riot recently came under fire as League of Legends fans push back against its introduction of a cosmetic that costs up to $500. I'm not sure why up to, but there's a link that we can follow.
Maybe it was in a marketplace and there were different prices or something. I don't know enough about it, but
I'm not sure. So the skin was made to celebrate renowned League player Faker for being the first person inducted into Riot's new Hall of Legends. But lots of players were upset that the price barred so many from celebrating the momentous occasion. Well, because it's greed. You don't price something at $500 because you want people engaged. It's because you want their money. Everything else doesn't matter.
Well, so also $500 for instance, a game would be outrageous. $500 for a skin is so far beyond outrageous.
Yeah, I agree. I would never in a million years pay $500. Even if I had the $500 to drop and I wouldn't feel it, I wouldn't care, right? Even if I loved the game, even if somebody gave me $500 and said, here, go spend it. I can't. I just can't. There's no way in hell that it's worth that much to me. But there's somebody out there, there's a kid out there that has $500 that could be saving it for their college fund or to buy a car or something like that. And they buy it on this. They spend it on this because they have that extra money and they really love the game and they really like Faker, and that's the shame. Ellie Gould over at PCGamer.com put the article together. So since then, they talked to the game director, where the issue of sky-high cosmetic prices became the topic of discussion. And from the sound of things, the company doesn't want to make a habit of it. So it says, I think there are people who are very upset about the RE skin, Lou says. And I also think that it's kind of justified, because when you have a 14-year-old product that starts doing new things that are expensive, when players are used to living under a certain price point, all of a sudden it can be kind of jarring. So it's a roundabout sort of way of saying that there's a lot of money. But they're making millions and millions a month on this. So the pricing for the majority of League bundles and skins isn't outrageous. The Champions bundle costs 3,410 in-game currency, which is $35, which is interesting. I've always thought that it's really weird that they don't just use straight up cash, but they separate the real world cost.
It disguises it, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't feel like they're actually spending money.
Yeah, or they're getting more for it, because when you translate $35 into 3,500 in-game bucks,
right? You're like, oh, what a bargain, or whatever. Or
the
look
exchange
how
rate
much
is
I can
tremendous.
get for this. Yeah,
and it's not even really at the same ratio, because $35 gets turned into $3,400. So there's a little bit taken off the top, right? If you set the economy, then you can always get more juice from the squeeze. So it says, while it's not cheap, it does sit around the same ballpark, blah, blah, blah. But $500, it's kind of ridiculous. So really the most expensive cosmetics, like the $500 Ari skin, are purchased by a very small number of people, usually known as whales.
Said by Mayor Watt earlier.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So the vast majority of players spend $0 on a free play game. As a consequence of that, the majority of our revenue comes from a small single-digit percentage of players. You set that up. You know exactly how much money you're making. So don't pretend like, oh, you're doing it out of the graciousness of your heart, for crying out loud. You know that it's costing people money to play your game, even though you say it's
Maybe
free.
they need to do like a pay as you can pricing model.
Oh, well, then everybody will take it. Nobody would buy anything. Yeah, that's not true. You know, I mean, there are situations where people have said, you know, put money in this bin, and, you know, pay what you think it's worth. And
Yes,
take one.
right.
And sometimes it works out, and sometimes there are unethical people out there, or people who don't value. They're willing to take, even if they do value it, without any compensation at all, because they think that they're the main player. You're just an NPC for their game. Anyway, there is some more over here at this article, but it's kind of rehashing the same thing. That it's outrageous that there's $500. They refer to it as a paywall, is the biggest insult imaginable to us. Riot chose to exploit their love for Faker for their own gain, but it is part and parcel to it. So I'm glad that there are people out there that are complaining about this, that they don't think that it's right. That's how you change the system. Speak with your wallet, but there are going to be people that are willing to pay $500 for it. Back in the day, there were apps that were on the App Store that were several $1,000s that were nothing more than a graphic. Nothing special about it, didn't do a damn thing, but you were able to show that you had the thousands of dollars to pay for it. Those were eventually pulled from the App Store.
Better than
Correct.
The next person.
Yeah, sit down, poor. You don't have anything to measure up to this height. You know, no one shorter than this height can ride, right? So you hold up your phone and you've got the diamond. So obviously you've got the right stuff, or a mountain of debt. Let's keep going though. The next article is a little bit more fun. WarCrafters channel, our 13 favorite games from the 2024 Summer Game Showcase. This is actually from PC Gamer. That's what it's aggregated from. The end of E3 hasn't been the end of summer gaming conferences, although it has erased one June gaming tradition, E3 Awards. It was always a bit odd to pin blue ribbons on unreleased games because they did a good job of looking cool, especially knowing how different what we saw at E3 to what they actually ended up getting. So the article is over at PCGamer.com. Tyler Wilde.
Did you hear the horses that were going by to demonstrate the ribbons?
Correct. Yes. Clydesdales running across the massive tracts of land of ohmTown. So after seeing what felt like hundreds of games, the crew at PC Gamer picked a few that really stood out. And so there's contributions from Morgan Park, Joshua Wollens, Ted Litchfield, Wes Fenlon, Andy Chalk, Rich Stanton, Christopher Livingston, which has always had an awesome name to me. Anyway, I won't go through all of them. The top 3 is Doom, the Dark Ages, but the problem with this is I came from Doom, original Doom, and this doesn't make any sense to me. But okay, I'm just going to leave that out there.
Why is that? No, just put something out about it.
What the hell does the Dark Ages have to do with anything? And when you watch the trailer, there's like, it's like you're in hell, but the Dark Ages in hell? I don't get it. I don't quite get it. Is this a flash forward or a flash back or a flash to an alternate reality? I don't know what this is. But I love the idea of this. There's world building here, but obviously because it's just a trailer and not in-game explanation, there's no dialogue here, or a monologue for that matter. I have no idea what the reality is of Doom, the Dark Ages.
Do you think this would almost, I know they're capitalizing on the original Doom, but do you think this would almost be more appealing without it being tied to Doom?
Yeah, it could be its own game. But then people would go, oh, this looks like Doom.
You can't win.
Yeah, so I'll be giving it a try, I'm sure, but I don't know. Perfect Dark. Ted Litchfield, associate editor, says Perfect Dark always had this mystique for them as an M-rated N64 game their parents never let them play. They had to sneak in and watch their older brother shoot up those cyberpunk megacorp buildings. I don't know. I never really played it. They said, boy howdy, this looks like an immersive sim. Looks like Deus Ex. Everything from the corporate sterility of its near future Cairo to the social stealth and exploration on display in the demo set off the classic PC sicko senses. Maybe the most unexpected pleasant surprise of the whole weekend. So I'll have to take a look at this as well. The trailer was interesting. I don't know what to make of it, but that's what their number 2 is. And then number 3 is Among the Wild. There are lots of creature collectors and farming sims out there, but none of them look quite like this. Everything is like high resolution and very engaging. It doesn't. It looks closer to Fortnite type graphics, but really neat
Which
physics.
Which is not what you'd
quality.
expect with an animal game.
Yeah. Yeah, it says, plus the devs at Nuggets Entertainment told them that unlike a lot of creature collecting games, these critters aren't necessarily helpful on your farm. They're more of a pain in the ass, they say. That means if one is carrying a piece of lumber or a fish around, they're more likely to abscond with it rather than deliver it to you. They can't wait to meet them and see what a nuisance they can be.
Okay,
So,
I kind of like that just because it's different. It might get obnoxious as you're playing it, though.
Yep. And there are probably 9 or 10 more here. Assassin's Creed Shadows, UFO 50, and more. I'll just let you follow the link over to it. I think the gaming scene is waiting for Doom, the Dark Ages, to see really what it's all about because of the name brand Doom. And the graphics that were presented in the trailer were pretty spectacular. Although some of them were really wonky. Like one of the guns grinds up skulls and fires it at multiple targets.
Different.
Yeah. How are they walking around with hundreds of skulls to grind up to use as flechette rounds in a gun? I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm also surprised that it looks like 31 years since the original Doom.
Oh, look, we've lost our connection with the sentient AI.
I just find it interesting that the studios wait so long in between editions.
There's been other things, but not this. This is like a spin-off of the original, but then kicked up a notch, quite a big notch, as a matter of fact. And I was going to mention that Among the Wilds seems like Pal World on steroids, resolution-wise, but not necessarily. It isn't like Pokemon with guns. That's Pal World. It's a farming sim, base builder, survival game. I don't know if it's really a survival game, as in maybe all you're doing really is collecting these animals and living your life. I don't think it's like this, though. Like, this is more cinematic than anything. So I don't know what the story is, but I'm all over this. Among the Wild is one of those games where I think that it has potential to be my forever game. Don't pay attention to the brain-sucking blob that landed on another Pokemon. Oh, it's not a Pokemon.
I was like, I'm not sure what that was. I do like the sheep.
Sheep. All right, let's keep going. By the way, there were 10 other selections in that list. We only talked about 3 of them. So the next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. Great games to play if you like Myst. I'm just going to jump straight on over to Game Rant. The article is by Jack Percy. And I'm a big fan of Myst games. I can't wait for Riven to come out in VR. I'm waiting to buy a package of Myst and Riven in VR. But I played Myst, I played Riven. I actually was in the computer software sales market or career when Myst and Riven were released. Oh my god, I feel old. Because it was first released in 1993 on Mac OS before coming to Windows the following year. The game was a huge success, becoming the best-selling PC game of all time. It had phenomenal graphics. The story was pretty straightforward, but it was a puzzle game, the likes of which nobody had ever seen before. So now Riven, the sequel to Myst. Done, released in 1997, but there's a new one coming out probably this year, if I remember right. Then there's The Room. It is an escape room, and you basically have to solve puzzles. Kern, Undying Thoughts, a modern puzzle-oriented game heavily inspired by Myst's puzzle design. Yes. It's on PC and Xbox One. Abduction, which I haven't played. Like Riven and Myst, Abduction was developed by Cyan Worlds, formerly known as Cyan. The game begins with the player being transported to an unknown location and tasks them with solving a range of tricky puzzles to find their way home. I love games like this.
Well, and if it's by the same studio, that should be worth checking out.
Yep. Then there's The Witness. Again, it's a game that I have not seen before. Puts players on a beautifully designed island packed with line puzzles and secrets. So I guess it says The Witness echoes Myst by putting players in a beautifully designed island that is filled to the brim with difficult line puzzles. The inherent restriction of line puzzles may make the game seem one-dimensional at first. However, the game's puzzles soon show their worth thanks to tremendous variety and depth. So, Call of the Sea, a puzzle adventure game with a mysterious story and eye-catching art design. Back to the 30s you go. Puts them on the shore in the shoes of Nora Everhart, who's traveling to a mysterious island to search for her missing husband. And there's Rhyme, third-person adventure with Myst-like environmental puzzles. Again, puzzles. So yet another game on the list that strands players on a mysterious island. All of them, it's always a mysterious island or some other far-flung place.
Yeah, that seems to be the model.
Yeah. So think of this as the island or the far-flung place that's isolated is an escape room, except that there's no walls. You just have to figure out how the hell.
Do you think escape rooms were based off of games like this?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I don't know how long escape rooms have actually been around. That might be something to find out. Then they have number 8, The Talos Principle 2, a philosophical game with wonderfully well-designed puzzles. It seems like something from Westworld, Talos. Why do I recognize that?
It does sound familiar. I think we've talked about them for something else.
So Talos was a, oh no, Talon, also spelled, Talos, spelled Talus, or Talon, was a Greek automaton, a giant automaton made of bronze to protect Europa in Crete from pirates and invaders, and he'd circle the island shores 3 times daily.
I wonder if we talked about like Talos Principle in a previous
Yeah, we must have.
episode or something.
So then they say, What Remains of Edith Finch, a story-driven experience that is difficult to forget. It says a first-person exploration game that's often unofficially referred to as a walking simulator, a style of game that, as the name suggests, generally tasks the players walking from area to area as a story unfolds around them. Oh, and that was number 9, so ta-da!
By the way, it looks like the escape room started in Asia and then first made it to the US around 2013, but not in great numbers, of course.
Gotcha. Interesting. Now they're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So go over to Game Rant, because while I summarized a little bit of it, there's always more detail in here that you might find beneficial to making your decisions about which games to buy. I like to talk about them here on the stream. It's kind of our thing where we talk about the news, and we hope that you would enjoy it and then come and talk with us here on Twitch and YouTube. I get both chats brought together so we can interact. But anyway, come and hang out with us, please. That would be great. So let's go on to the next article as Powerwash Simulator, So the article's over in Reality Hacker because it has to do with VR. Powerwash Simulator VR meets Alice in Wonderland in this summer DLC. The latest Powerwash Simulator VR DLC update, Future Labs' next crossover, aims to capture the quirky essence of Alice in Wonderland. Featuring themed washer and character skins, the upcoming Alice's Adventures special pack includes 5 new maps: Wonderland Entrance Hall, White Rabbit's House, Caterpillar's Mushroom, Mad Tea Party, and the Queen of Hearts Court. So you're going to go and power wash it.
When I first saw this headline, I thought it was more about the style. I didn't realize it was actually Alice in Wonderland.
So yeah, it's basically a representation of Alice in Wonderland, and you get to power wash it clean in all its surreal goodness. Wow.
I mean, that's pretty unique.
It's unique, all right. The article is over at uploadvr.com. Henry Stockdale is the author. And they have more over here, but then they make references to other files, like following February's Muckingham Files 1 and 2 update and the SpongeBob SquarePants Special Pack last month delivered a Back to the Future crossover, adding 5 new levels from notable movie locations. As for what's next, you can find the full 2024 roadmap here, although they link the full 2024 roadmap and not the word here. You know, the action would be on the word here.
Right, I think that's where the link should be and not anywhere else.
So, I thought that this might be on PC VR, but it says that it's MetaQuest platform for $8. Alice's Adventures special pack.
But they might have expanded to other platforms.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go and look at this. Hey, Kath again. Get motion sickness from Powerwash Simulator. Now add Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, if you watched that trailer just now, it made me a little... So, Kath, if you're playing is it only Powerwash Simulator if you're in VR when you're doing that? Or are you getting motion sickness from Powerwash Simulator on the flat screen, not in VR? One I can help, the other one, I don't know. Well, it takes effort on your part. Not in VR. Okay. Yeah, so I wonder, because I've been having that kind of a problem, like not motion sickness, like overwhelmingly, but I've played some of these new indie games where the frame rate is causing me to my vision is like thrown off. I'm like, my God, this is making,
That's not
it's
good.
disorienting. And I think it's the frame rate. So I don't know, maybe that might be it. I think there's a way to limit the frame rate in most games nowadays. But there was a game where you're basically trying to repair a haunted mansion. And I would twitch the trackball just a little bit and it would snap me around, and it was so disorienting that I stepped down the frame rate to 30 frames, and that made it tolerable. But yeah, I love VR, so I don't get motion sickness anymore because I play it so often that it's not a big deal. But
It's kind of surprising as an industry they haven't better resolved this, because it seems like that's such an impediment for people.
yeah, VR sickness. Yeah. And it's entirely because you're no longer pegged to the reality that your feet are giving you as feedback. So the moment your eyes and your inner ears, your semicircular canals, and essentially your balance is disconnected from the reality, man, you just lose your faculties, your ability to control. So when you start feeling motion sickness, you take the headset off and you realign yourself and then put it back on. But Kath is talking about on the flat screen, and I'm telling you, I've gone through that too, because for whatever reason, the way that it's coded makes your vision just kind of get jerked around so much. So hope I could help, but I don't know if that helped. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in WarCrafters. Yeah, some games I just can't play. Yep, I get that. So this next article is over in WarCrafters. There are so many great city builder demos on Steam right now. You can play 3 new ones every single day this week. So the city builder genre has never been healthier. And not only are there more new city builders coming out than ever before, but there's an amazing diversity on display. Urban builders, survival builders, strategy builders, roguelikes, puzzle games, even cozy no-stress city builders. That's my style. As are strategy builders and survival builders and urban builders. I don't know. I'd have to see what the context of that one is. But I dig cozy no stress. So best of all, you can play so many of these upcoming city builders this week. And so this is an early acquisition article. So June 10th is when we first saw this article. But since it's a weekly show, it was 5 days ago. So 7 days back is how far we go for each episode. So let's just go on over to it. Christopher Livingston over at PCGamer.com put the article together. The deck statement says, Steam Next Fest gives us our best chance ever to check out all the city builders headed our way. Pardon me one second. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I already like this from the graphic.
Abilite Games. So I'm not sure which one this is. But city builders are awesome. Citadelum is, let's see, takes you back to ancient Rome to grow your settlement from a tiny camp to a city so resplendent it would please the gods. And it says that's no exaggeration. Towering gods will visit your city to walk the streets and help or perhaps hinder your efforts. That sounds like fun. Huh. Okay, we'll have to check this out. I think I've seen people play this in beta. To sometimes developers like give a key to a streamer and say, "Hey, try this out." And I think I saw Burke Black play this. I think, but don't hold me to that. Airborne Empire. I actually have this way back. It says they've already put a few hours into Airborne. There's a typo. Every article I read, there's a typo in it. So you've got.
I think they're trying to get stuff out quickly, particularly during all the showcases.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So this is a city builder, but it's in the sky. So beyond these stars, you actually build your. It's like a city, but it's really an outpost on the back of a space whale, for lack of a better term. So why not build a city in space beyond the stars? It takes place on the back of a giant space whale. Oh, they even say it. Slowly swimming through the void. Build supply chains and counter alien societies. Travel the galaxy while carefully balancing the ecosystem of the gentle giant you're living on. Dun dun dun. So it has all of these like resources and stuff like that, and you can expand your base out beyond where it is. I have this demo, but I haven't played it that much. Not enough time. Kaiserpunk. Blend city building with grand strategy and an alt history setting where World War I and II are basically just one big unending conflict. Yay! Grow and manage your city's production chains. It's a city builder, of course. Kaiserpunk. And then Arc of Chiron. Another city builder where you are expanding atop a living creature. Arc of Chiron serves as a mobile fortress. The walking tree you build on is a sapling of a sacred world tree, which is traveling through a perilous realm. Gather, build, and keep the sapling safe from relentless attacks.
Okay, that kind of reminds me of like Mortal Engines. I think anything that's moving around is kind of interesting.
Yeah. That is kind of interesting, isn't it? Nope. Not going to play the trailer. Y'all can play the trailer. Goblin Camp I've played. It was kind of janky for me, but maybe I didn't give it enough, too short shrift there. Goblin Camp, it has a demo, so you can actually favorite it now, put it on your watch list and download it and try it. You've heard of Dwarf Fortress. Now it's time for goblins to do the same building, construct and manage a thriving settlement, survive harsh winters, and protect your tribe from disasters. It's kind of pixely. Low resolution, and for me things were quirky about how it worked, and there were zero tutorials like to train you into initial how to play this game. So I should probably go back after it updates and give it another shot. Super Fantasy Kingdom, it's really interesting because you see all of this, but really what it is that it's basically like a Nintendo style game, but a base builder where you get attacked constantly. You have to send out people to get resources. You can get pets, you get boosts, but then periodically your castle will get attacked.
Is it somewhat similar in style to like Stardew Valley, like the graphics?
When you're zoomed in like this, yes, it's closer to that. When you're zoomed out, it's even further away from that, so it's more like a pixel 8-bit game. I have this, but as you can see, you don't really. It's not like Stardew Valley in the sense that the graphics are appealing to that same degree. These are all these pixelated, low resolution graphics. And the story, I don't think that I could even get into the story because I was constantly babysitting my base getting attacked. So you have to set up your defenses and
right. It's like less city building and more like tower defense or something.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yep. You just nailed it. So it was fun, but I don't know if I could sit there and play this like long term, because this is what I experienced. Like, they defeated my defenses, and then they just come through and destroy everything, eat the whole place. Nom nom nom. And so roguelite city builder is true. So, because you die and you can rebuild and stuff like that. Anyway, then Gordlet's Hollywood Animal, which I have the demo of, and I watched somebody else playing it, and I just haven't gotten into it yet. Technotopia, Republic of Pirates. That might actually come up with in another article. Pax Augusta, Humanica, Lunar City Builder, which I haven't even seen yet. So, and even more demos, and you can all go and check that out. All right, we've got 4 more articles to go through. This next one is another list, but we'll go through it really quick. All the games featured in the 2024 Indie.io showcase. It's been aggregated into the WarCrafters channel. IGN Summer of Gaming is in full swing. This was from back in the 8th, so like pushing the limit of our Wayback Machine. You might know them as Freedom Games, publisher of popular titles like Symphony of War, Coromon, Dark Deity. IGN Live had this whole showcase that was live. You could actually go to it. It was kind of like a mini E3. It was pretty fascinating. You could buy tickets to it. And it didn't have the stuff that was streamed. It was like there were 2 different things going on. Some like of it separate, was streamed. Yeah. So they recently unveiled their new name, and they began a new era with a showcase that gave us reveals, trailers, and info for lots of upcoming games. That's Indie.io. And so, doink. Oh, wow. I didn't even do that. So, oh, that's why. So, all the games featured in the 2024 Indie.io showcase, the indie developer platform, begins a new era with a bang. So it's by IGN, and that's what this website is, IGN.com. So Forgotten Seas, Everholm, Dark Deity 2, Immortal Hunters. They have all of these videos, the hunting, like their YouTube videos, but the Haunting of Joni Evers. And actually, I don't know if they are not. They're hosted on their local server, it seems. They're not on YouTube. Yeah, they're on IGN. That's actually interesting. Soul Quest, Chronomon, World of Football, Pinball Spire. These are all indie developers, by the way. Humanity, now available in early access. It's a zombie survival game.
If it has a Z, it pretty much has to do with zombies.
Yeah, Cursed Dawn. Get your tentacles off my waifu. All right. Hauntsville. I mean, they have so many games. SCP, Fragmented Minds, Shoot on Sight, AI.vi, Blood Reaver.
Interesting name, at least.
Coming from the AI.
I might have a bias.
A Death in the Red Light, Shrine's Legacy, Adventurer's Gambit, Dungeons of Fortune, Dwylink, War of the Nine. There's so many games in this. G.I. Joe, Wrath of Cobra. Pretty fascinating list. So I'll let y'all go and take a look at this because it's quite extensive and could be a show all of its own if I were to sit here and walk through all of these. What the heck? Sorry, I hit pause, but it actually turned on the sound. I'll probably get in trouble for that if it went out. I don't know. All right, let's keep going though. The next article is over in WarCrafters as well. Best indie pirate games. Despite the lack of well-crafted pirate games on the market, some titles, such as Sea of Thieves, have managed to achieve success in the genre. However, outside of higher budget space, the pirate theme remains relatively underused. Game Rant put this article together. Harry Ted Sprinks is the author. And we're going to go through it really quick. Swords and Crossbones, an epic pirate story. A swashbuckling tactical RPG, so it's turn-based. And isometric, so you're not going to be running around first-person view, shooting up the place, or, jumping from ship to ship.
It's not VR or something.
No, it's none of that. Sea of Survivors, because Sea of Thieves was taken. It's a pirate-themed horde survival, so you're going to keep on getting attacked by mass amounts of mobs.
Including aquatic monsters.
Yeah, I think it's because you're the ship, so you're going to keep on getting attacked by one of these monsters. Looks like that right there is the top of its jaw, and that's the bottom of its jaw, so it's going to
eat it does.
all of you.
Look at the scale compared to the ship.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, I don't think you're going to need a bigger boat, just like Jaws, because of those jaws. A game called Don't Sink takes inspiration from games like FTL, Faster Than Light. It's actually, that's the title of it, FTL: Faster Than Light. So FTL. The pirate-themed classics such as Sid Meier's Pirates, which is a big favorite over the last 30 years or so. Offering a swashbuckling adventure with vibrant pixel art. Don't Sink isn't quite as expansive as its inspirations, but manages to be consistently engaging pirate-themed experience thanks to a well-crafted gameplay loop. Then Kraken's Curse. Minimalist indie roguelike about searching through an archipelago for the titular Kraken. Titular, I get to use titular.
I mean, again. I didn't know we were going to have that in WarCrafters today.
Yeah, titular. SteamWorld Heist. SteamWorld is the kind of a world building experience in progress. They've got a lot of different stuff being made, all SteamWorld this, SteamWorld that.
It's not associated with Valve Steam, right?
No. This is a turn-based game, but you can bounce bullets off of certain things to hit other targets. It's quite interesting. It's more strategy than anything. Then there's Sea Blip, which I think I played maybe a month ago or so. I don't know. Sea Blip is an open world adventure that allows players to roleplay as a pirate, upgrading their ship and hiring a unique crew, and you can shoot across this little line. So when you bump up against something, like you'll run, it's a random mob that shows up and you can fight. And you target certain things.
And it has a good title.
Sea Blip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it stands out.
I think I might have that in my list. Let's find out. Sea Blip. So, yeah, it's on my wish list. So, and there is a demo, and yeah, I do have it. Okay. Yeah. I remember this. All right. And then number 2 is Pirates Outlaws, which is a deck builder. So you play I've actually played this too. This, I think, is on iOS as well. Either I've played this on my iPad or something really close to it. Let me see something. I might have actually removed it, but that's okay. Anyway, I won't get distracted. Sorry, AI. So it's a roguelike deck builder. Essentially, you play the cards, and you, as the overarching character, can eventually build up bigger and bigger. But there are steps that you have to go through. So you have to kill all of these mobs, and then you get a perk, and that makes you stronger. And then you go through another round of it, and it basically moved the story along. So it says, while there's a handful of intricacies that separate Pirate Outlaws from Slay the Spire inspiration, it plays very similarly. As a result, players who disliked Slay the Spire are unlikely to find fun here. So similar to games like Slay the Spire, you use a hand of cards It says it features geometric art style and a pirate theme, so that is for sure. So they all
That
have
sounds
certain
cool.
things.
But do you think it's like Slay the Spire?
Yeah, apparently it's like Slay the Spire. So the next article, or then the final one in this list, is The Caribbean Sail, a pirate game inspired by the Oregon Trail, which I find very fascinating. But it was released back in 2017. Predominantly black and white indie game, features a subtle sense of humor, old school visuals, and a gameplay loop inspired by Oregon Trail. You make a decision, you move a little bit, you suffer the consequences.
Oh, right. Hopefully you're still alive.
Yeah, and everybody dies of, what is it?
Dysentery? Or
Dysentery.
that might not be
Yeah,
right.
that is it. Yeah, I think it's dysentery as well. Yeah. So, as is the case with games inspired by Caribbean Sail, is constantly reliant on random number generation. Random encounters and poor luck will often result in losing the game, but it could be argued that this is part of the fun. These tough situations often result in enjoyable stories. I certainly had a lot of enjoyable stories playing these kind of games with friends, but who needs those?
Wow, Mayor Watt, are you doing okay?
Oh, I'll be fine. All right, let's keep going. The next article, we have two more, including this one. The next article is in the WarCrafters channel. One of our favorite co-op survival games gets 2 new classes as it hits full release this summer. Core Keeper first arrived on Steam. Now it just released its 1.0 launch, so it's complete apparently. The full release will include a new endgame biome, a conclusion of the main story arc, PvP functionality, and 2 new classes, Warlock and Mage, both of which use mana as a resource and introduce new weapons, equipment, and skill trees. I have this game and I don't remember any of the classes.
Oh, when did you last play it? 2 years ago?
Maybe. Yeah, been a while. The article is over at PCGamer.com by Sarah James. Core Keepers 1.0 trailer is here. Not for us. But you can watch it if you follow the link through ohmTown. This is set in an ancient cavern of creatures. This vast and procedurally generated sandbox adventure tasks you with mining resources to build your ideal base. And if that's not enough to get you on side, what? Who doesn't enjoy spending a ridiculous number of hours on the minute details of your in-game home? Maybe
is that
battling.
idiomatic? Like that's on board or something?
It must be. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, maybe battling monsters, searching for treasures and trinkets, exploring the different biomes will help sway you. You start by picking away at walls to gather resources, which are then used to craft weapons, armor, tools. Tree roots provide wood to build a wooden base. Seeds let you build a farm. And you find underwater ponds for fishing to help stock up your pantry. Selling 500,000 copies during its first 2 weeks in early access back in 2022. So yeah. You might be absolutely right that I haven't played this in 2 years.
I mean, I don't know, but...
You are the AI from the future. Anyway, I actually have it. I bought it way back in early access, so yeah, I'll have to go back and play it, I suppose, and give it... I've never completed it because I am incapable of finishing games, mainly because I get bored or get distracted by something other than, oh, hey. So, sorry.
What?
Yeah, sorry. So it says it's not all cozy vibes, though. You'll need to build bridges to cross dark chasms and face off against powerful bosses, which you'll need to overcome. Basically, the deeper you dig, the more you find, the further you want to explore. But you always brush up against little bosses that want to kick your ass. So. It's a fun game. It's one that I keep going back to, actually, a little bit at a time, but I haven't played it since before its 1.0 release, so I will have to go back and play it. Sorry for the cough. I missed my cough button. So the last article for tonight is in the Wanted channel. 6 amazing Steam Next Fast games you should play right now. I'm going to jump straight on over to it. This is from pocket-lint.com, which every time I say this...
get rid of the dash?
Oliver Vandervoort. I'm going to let the AI say that instead of me this time about the dash. So Steam Next Fast allows users to try out a ton of upcoming games, everything from sports titles to city builders to RPGs. Let's see what they say. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. I just started seeing people play this. Says you won't have to wait long. I guess it's coming out right now. Let me mute that. There's blood and violence. So it kind of has like a, I don't know what the military aesthetic is here. It reminds me of the steampunk Pinocchio game that was out recently.
Lies of P?
Yeah, that's it. What the heck?
You did some good programming.
What the heck just happened? Okay. Wow. Anyway, so you have a pet.
I impressed myself.
You impressed me. But everything seems kind of steampunky. And I don't know. I haven't seen much beyond maybe 1 or 2 people playing for a short amount of time because of the demo. But maybe I'll have to take a look at it. I'm really not... I don't like games that are on rails. And so if I have to follow a certain path, I'm not really that into it. I like open world base builders, survival base builders like Icarus or something like that. I don't know if this is actually like that though. But that's number 1 on their list.
Well, it does release on July 18th on Steam.
So, yeah. But the demo is out, so you can actually try it. If I remember right. Hold on. Let me make sure. Yeah, there's a demo. What the? Okay. And then there's Endzone 2. Endzone 2 demo. Similar. It's a city fort builder that's similar to Frostpunk and of course the original Endzone. So Endzone 2 base builder. G.I. Joe: The Wrath of Cobra, which I thought this was...
Is this due to the crossover? Aren't they doing like a G.I. Joe something movie?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Isn't there a movie? Yeah. When is that? I don't know. So there have been several games that have tried to take advantage of the G.I. Joe license, but it feels like having a more 2D retro approach is the one that works best, like Endzone 2. This game is expected sometime in 2024. I'm not sure why they tied it to Endzone 2, the game just now up there. So III Initiative. This actually looks like fun. But it is a city base builder. So I don't know to what extent it matches Frostpunk. Because if I recall, Frostpunk was much... the base building was much tighter knit, not expansive like this. So I'll have to take a look at Endzone 2. This looks fun.
By the way, the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover comes out in September, but it's a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this... it's weird. This like came out of nowhere, this game. G.I. Joe: The Wrath of Cobra. Even like the movie, I don't even understand the crossover with the movie. It seems absurd.
Well, there is a movie, The Rise of Cobra, of course, from 2009.
Yeah, they wait 30 years for something to come
I know. That's what I don't get. Like, actually several things in the show.
I Am Your Beast. This is actually pretty cool. Oops. Dunk. And as you're playing it, you're hearing a voice to not do certain things or do certain things. It's kind of weird. So you'll have to watch this trailer. Because there's a storyline that's progressing as you're playing the game. I Am Your Beast is a first-person shooter that features comic book-style graphics and has a user taking on the role of a secret agent on the warpath against militant enemies as you raid various bases and encampments. While your guns are your main form of attack, the added fun comes when you decide to use your pistol or rifle as a kind of boomerang bludgeon. While the demo is available during Steam Next Fest, you can grab this and decide if you want it more. Yeah, if I remember right, there was like this voice in the background that was saying things while you're doing your
I see.
your deeds. I don't know. Then there's Maximum Football. I'll just kind of hurry up with this. Once Human has been in this long-term beta. I was part of that along with pretty much everybody. They were handing out keys to play this like nobody's business. It's kind of, well, it's really weird monsters, and it's a base builder, and it's an MMO. I don't know how to describe it beyond that. It's really weird. Yeah, strange apocalyptic future, though that's about where the similarity ends. You're actually referred to as something like a butterfly or something like that, or a moth, or I don't know.
Interesting.
In addition to running into mysterious monsters and anomalies that you have to overcome, players will need to build their homes and bases and scavenge for supplies in order to survive. With the full game due out early July, Steam Next Fest is definitely giving people a chance. There was, it's too late now, so I don't know why I'm talking about it, but there was a thing where you could play for an hour and you would get a special skin that you're one of the early adopters.
Oh, okay.
And I kept putting it off. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'll do it. And so I go to download the game. And by the time I loaded up, 5 minutes had ticked over the minimum time allowed because there was a deadline.
No.
So I couldn't get it. But that's okay. I don't mind. That's not true. Like I was a beta tester for World of Warcraft, and so I still have my character, the original character from when I was a beta tester, because I have stuff from way back.
Right, not many people can say they were.
Yeah, and are still alive because we're all old. Thanks for drawing attention to that.
That's not what I meant, but okay.
I'm not better. Anyway, that's it, folks. Look at that. Whole bunch of games. Yet more to peruse, and there's more tomorrow. There's a ton of more stuff over at ohmTown.com. So I am going to end up back at the front page of WarCrafters, which is right here under Creative and Maker. It'll refresh, and there's a whole bunch of stuff, page after page, categorized, cataloged under WarCrafters, and then we take a lot of the content from here, but sometimes there's stuff from the rest of the site that has basically alignment with the WarCrafters. Heavy Steel, good to see ya. Demands content. There are 1,100 episodes of various ohmTown shows over on YouTube and the podcasts. So if you haven't heard, we have 7 separate podcasts now. And if you hit !pod, it'll give you a list. Makes grabby hands for content. I like that. I can immediately envision that. Dun, dun, dun. So it better work. Did it not work? Why did it not work? Hold on a second. Oh, interesting. I did make changes, but I didn't think I broke that. That's not good. So those are all of our podcasts right now. So ohmTown Daily News Show, which is probably going to get a name change within the next week. But I'm not going to tell anybody what it is.
It's for the show, not for the
just
channel.
For the show, not for the website, not for the network. Four Wheel Tech, which talks about cars. and technology. Continuity report, that we talk about streaming and TV shows and movies and basically entertainment. WarCrafters is this show that we talk about base building and survival games, crafting games, first-person shooters, real-time simulators, strategy, RPG games, etc. And then Wanted, which is about gadgets and gear. And then Technology Today is a deep dive into technology, certain technology. It's more science-y articles. And I try to explain some things and give some anecdotal information about it. And then Reality Hacker, which is about VR. So it's kind of like ohmTown Daily News Show, except they're much more focused. ohmTown is just everything across the network. And I've got 3 more shows that are planned for spinning up. One of them is called Mix War, which is about music, where people get to generate music, and then I play it live here on the stream. That is, I'm running into problems with copyright, of all things, where something that I generate actually gets flagged as a copyright violation, which is absolutely, well, I'm trying to prep for it and take steps to basically knock that out. Whenever it happens, I can just mash a button, send a letter, and say this needs to be stopped. But yeah, well, to some degree, yeah. So we'll see. I'm ready for the fight, because I think DMCA is treating everything like a battering ram and high explosives instead of a scalpel like it should be. But I think in reality, it's being used as intended. Yes. Yeah, I work in intellectual property, so yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, and depending on what you do and how it's constructed, yeah, it's a nightmare. And then enforcement of it and royalties and rights and stuff like that. And depending on how it's all done, there's different ways. And going solo is the easiest, frictionless way. But all right, folks. And yeah, so Mix War is the show that's going to be coming online eventually, allowing people to utilize music that's generated by other people within the Mix War ecosystem. And then they can take slices of the audio, they can mix it up with their own music, they can use AI generated work, all of that. And then there's competitions, so weekly competitions that bleed over into month, quarter, semi, biannual, and then annual, and yeah. So, Seven Heavy asked the question, what if I play riffs on my guitar? If your riff is one that gets flagged as copyrighted, then it'll get flagged in the stream, and I will have to say this is generated by the artist, and it has no basis being tied to a copyrighted riff. And that's kind of my problem. I'm gonna have to work with an attorney to solve these kind of problems, because I don't think that a riff is enough to substantiate a DMCA claim. But it has landed much bigger players in the scene straight to court. So yeah, Seven Heavy says, my own song was flagged and then reported to me. And that's exactly what happened to me. I generated a song, and it was flagged that it was already copyrighted, but it was a unique generation that had just been done. And I thought it was really astonishing that there was a segment of the video that was already owned by somebody else. And so I said, yeah, your own copyright was flagged. Yep. Yeah, pretty wild, huh? It's because it's automated. There's no human. And then you have to do all of the paperwork to get it reversed, to flip it, and it takes weeks or months. In one instance, something that brought down one of my channels, it took 6 months for them to go, oh shit, sorry about that. And then they resurrected the channel. But by that time, the momentum was gone. The marketing effort had already petered out, and I just kind of said, okay, I'll do a different tack on this. So yeah, it sucks, Seven. It really does, because it's largely automated, and then somebody else can take your work and copyright it, and then you are sitting there going, well, hell, that's my work. And then you have to chase it all down. But that's for another time. We'll have to come and talk about it. And yeah, I agree, it's stupid. You had to get a lawyer to fight your own copyright. It's not the weirdest thing that I've heard, that's for sure. Okay, folks, we are done for tonight, but we will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, and do it all over again with 4 new show. Well, ohmTown Daily News Show, the Continuity Report, Technology Today, and 4 Wheel Tech is tomorrow, starting at 5 o'clock. Yeah, 7 Heavy Steel says had to get their attorney, and then the whole mess was tossed. So yeah, because all it takes is a human to actually look at it, and they won't look at it until a lawyer sends a letter and says, "Look at it, assholes." Yep. All right, folks, you are so awesome. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Oh, and BMI. Yeah, there you go. I had been paying BMI licensing for years. And then I got flagged for something, and I said, why the hell are you all flagging me for this all of a sudden? And it was about a synchro license that I didn't have for something. And I said, look, y'all have known this, and I've been paying for years. For 3 years I was paying. And they're like, yeah, well, this is how much it's going to cost. And so I said, okay, so I'm not really protected for anything, so I'm out. And I canceled all of it and stopped playing any music. So yeah, you don't run across that problem when the artists themselves give you permission. And that's how Mix War is going to have to exist. Everybody's who wants to compete is going to have to sign an agreement saying that I can restream and I get the sync license so that I can restream. So yeah, there's a lot more under the hood here. So we'll end up talking about it during Mix War shows for sure. And periodically in these kind of shows. So thanks for coming, y'all. I got to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. I'll miss y'all. See you tomorrow.